absolutely unreal what just happened with the San Francisco 49ers just a few weeks ago. There was this heavy cloud hanging over the team, this loud, frustrating narrative that they had blown the 2025 NFL draft everywhere. You looked, analysts and fans alike were dishing out grades that hovered around the B-, C+ territory. And in draft language, that's basically saying, meh, you didn't mess it up completely. But we're not impressed either. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, was handing out A grades. Not a single top-tier analyst came out strongly in favor of what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan had done. It felt like every pick was getting picked apart, every decision questioned, and every prospect's upside being downplayed. But then, almost out of nowhere, things started to shift. It wasn't loud at first, just a few voices starting to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe this class isn't so bad. And then boom, a major analyst dropped a report that flipped the entire conversation on its head. Suddenly, the 49ers are being talked about as one of the teams that might have actually crushed the draft. Not just survived it, crushed it. We're talking about 11 new players, most of whom were being overlooked or undervalued just a short while ago, now being recognized for their potential, for how they fit into the system, and for what they could become in this league. It's not even just about optimism anymore. It's about validation. Tony Pauline, a guy known for his deep scouting reports and credible analysis, came out and straight up gave the 49ers an A grade, an A that's not just a nice pat on the back. That's saying you nailed this. For context, Pauline's not the type to throw around praise lightly. He's meticulous, he dives deep, and if he gives a front office an A, it means something clicked. It means the scouting process aligned with the actual needs of the team. It means value was found, roles were filled, and the long-term outlook is promising. Now, he wasn't all sunshine and roses. Let's be real, he didn't love every pick. Upton Stout, the slot corner some fans are high on, yeah, Pauline wasn't totally sold. He pointed out the size concerns, the way Stout plays with a level of physicality that might expose him to injuries, and just generally didn't seem convinced he was the right choice for that particular spot. But you know what? That's fair. That's draft analysis. Not every pick is going to be universally loved. And that was really the only notable knock he had. One guy, one pick, in an entire 11-player class. That alone is telling. But here's where things get wild. Pauline went out of his way to praise the way San Francisco approached the defensive line in this draft, and if you've been following the team, you know that trench work has always been a priority under Shanahan and Lynch. That identity of toughness, of setting the tone up front, is baked into the DNA of this team. So hearing someone as respected as Pauline say they may have struck gold with Mike Williams, Alfred Collins, and CJ West, that's huge. That's not just throwing a bone to the fan base. That's a clear signal that the long-term development of this D-line is on track. Mike Williams in particular is a name that's had the fan base split. Some people see the upside, others worry about the consistency, but Pauline, he's all in. Called the guy a prospect with huge growth potential, highlighted his flashes of dominance, and suggested that with time and physical maturity, maybe even just hitting 21 years old, he could round out into something special. That's exactly the kind of developmental trajectory you want in a pick like that. You don't need every rookie to be a day one star. You need guys who can step into roles, grow into the system, and eventually become game-changers. And with Alfred Collins, the praise just keeps flowing. Pauline liked the size, the versatility, the ability to occupy blockers and still make plays. That's rare. Most guys can do one or the other. Collins, he's got that all-around game that makes him dangerous, and if you've paid attention to where he's lined up, how his snaps have been distributed, and the way he impacts gaps, you can see why there's excitement. This isn't just a depth piece. This is a guy who could very well be starting in the near future, assuming he builds out the strength and polish his game needs. It's not about comparing him to legends, but when people start throwing around names like Bryant Young in terms of physique or presence, that's not casual talk. That's respect. Then there's CJ West. If you don't know that name yet, you're going to soon. Pauline described him as an immovable object in the middle of Indiana's defensive line, but not just a run stuffer. During Shrine Bowl practices, West proved he can collapse pockets, get after the quarterback, and be more than just a guy who eats space. That speed-to-power ratio, that's where the value is. And for a fourth-round pick to already be generating that kind of buzz, that's crazy exciting. There are people out there saying his pass rushing upside is being massively underrated. And if that's true, the 49ers might have walked away with a steal without even realizing how big it could be. And the hype doesn't stop there. Linebacker Nick Martin was another pick that raised eyebrows, not because he's not talented, but because some felt the third round was too high. Pauline disagrees. He sees Martin as explosive, athletic, and violent, a perfect fit for what this defense asks of its second-level guys, and the comparison that keeps coming up. Dre Greenlaw, that's no small compliment. Greenlaw was a tone-setter on this defense. He brought energy, instincts, and big play potential. If Martin even gets close to that level, you're talking about another foundational piece in the heart of this defense. Flipping over to the offensive side, Pauline didn't hold back either. Called the selections of wide receiver Jordan Watkins and running back Jordan James straight-up steals. Think about that. Not good picks. Not solid additions, steals. Watkins, with his vertical speed and reliable hands, could be a deep threat this team has been missing. All he needs is to tighten up the route running. That's coachable. That's not a red flag. That's a training camp project that could turn into a legit contributor by midseason. You don't often find that kind of upside in the middle rounds, and Jordan James, this guy fits Kyle Shanahan's system like a glove. Tough, physical, violent runner with soft hands. You can line him up behind center. You can toss it to him. You can get creative with screens. He's got that versatility you need, especially when you're looking for a change of pace back behind Christian McCaffrey. Let's be honest. McCaffrey's not going to take every snap forever. The 49ers need someone who can replicate even a portion of that dual-threat role. And everything about James says he's built for that. Pauline even gave shout-outs to some of the late-round picks. Siegel, Rourke Connor, Bergen. All of them got positive marks. Bergen especially stands out as a return specialist who could end up being a spark plug on special teams, if not more. And then, the one real criticism Pauline did throw out, and honestly, it's valid, is that the 49ers didn't invest in the offensive line early. That's been a sore spot. Not just in this draft, but in recent years. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows the team's relying heavily on coaching up mid to late round picks. So yeah, that's a fair critique. But even with that, Pauline still gave them an A. That means the rest of the draft, the impact, the balance, the upside, was strong enough to outweigh the one area they didn't address early. And let me tell you, if you're not excited after hearing all that, I don't know what will get you there. Maybe we just view this team differently, but for me, this is the kind of report that gets you fired up. We're talking about a class that not only fills holes, but might actually raise the ceiling of this team moving forward. 11 players, multiple future starters, role players with scheme fit, depth with upside, and actual praise from one of the toughest graders out there. We're less than 3 weeks away from rookie reporting day. And this kind of momentum heading into the next phase of the offseason is exactly what you want. The narrative flipped, the doubt turned into belief. And for a team that's been hovering on the edge of greatness the past few seasons, this kind of draft, this kind of recognition, could be the spark that pushes them over the top. This is real, this is happening, and if you weren't paying attention before, now's the time. And what's maybe the most fascinating part of this whole situation is how quiet things have gotten from the critics. A few weeks ago, they were everywhere breaking down every pick, arguing about scheme fit, throwing out red flags like they were going out of style. But now, crickets. The same voices that were certain this draft class would disappoint have either gone silent or shifted their tone entirely. That's what happens when the tape starts doing the talking. When whispers come out of rookie minicamp that a few of these guys are already turning heads. You can almost feel the shift in energy around the organization, like there's a newfound confidence not just from fans, but from the staff, the players, and even the media that covers them daily. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are growing louder across the NFL landscape, and they're impossible to ignore. Lamar Jackson to the San Francisco 49ers. While nothing has been confirmed, insiders and league observers are starting to piece together a scenario that could send shockwaves through the league and potentially reshape its balance of power for years to come. According to multiple sources close to the situation, there have been quiet, back-channel conversations hinting that the reigning MVP might be eyeing a blockbuster move to the Bay Area. The idea of Jackson donning the red and gold has set social media ablaze and sparked debates among analysts, fans, and former players alike. Could the 49ers, already a perennial contender with a stacked roster and one of the league's most creative offensive minds in Kyle Shanahan, be ready to push all their chips in for one of the league's most electrifying quarterbacks? Though Brock Purdy has shown incredible poise and consistency, there's speculation that the Niners may see Jackson as the final piece to build a true dynasty. Imagine a backfield featuring Lamar's speed and unpredictability alongside Christian McCaffrey's versatility. Add to that Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle, and you have what some are calling the makings of a super team on offense. Of course, such a move would involve major cap gymnastics and bold decision-making. The Ravens, for their part, have made no public indication they're willing to part ways with their franchise player. But as we've seen time and again, the NFL is a league where bold moves define eras and whispers like these don't emerge from nowhere. Is this just smoke, or is there fire beneath the surface? As training camp approaches, all eyes will be on San Francisco. Whether it's just off-season chatter or the start of something seismic, one thing's certain: the mere idea of Lamar Jackson in a 49ers uniform is enough to make every defensive coordinator in the league break into a cold sweat. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.